Uber drivers buying houses in San Francisco. What up, internet world? It's your boy Jermaine back with another video. So in this video, we're just gonna jump right into this one. I think this is kind of insane. This may sound crazy to some people, but I've actually heard of stories like this over and over and over. But this is a different one. This one's a little bit different from the ones I've heard in the past. So I know a guy here who just I've been keeping in contact with for a couple of years, and he just recently bought a house in the city. When I say recent, I'm talking about I think it was about 6 months ago. He bought a house in the city, and he was just explaining to me the whole process and like what happened and just how he saved up the money and how he was able to pull it off. Now, if y'all are sitting down watching this video, you live in the city, or let's say you live outside the city and you're just blown away, like how is an Uber driver out here buying houses in San Francisco? Aren't houses like $10 million? Well, there are $10 million houses, but most houses are closer to the $1 million mark. If you get something really nice, already put together, it might be $1 million, right? But if you get a fixer, it could very well be less than $1 million. And that's exactly what our Uber driver did. Our Uber driver did some very, very clever techniques. He used some very clever techniques to save money, I would say. Let's just jump right into this one. So this Uber driver didn't want to be interviewed. He didn't want to be on camera just because, this dude makes really good money and he just don't want to be out there, right? But basically he was telling me that about, I don't know, I think he said 6 years ago, he started driving a electric car on Uber, okay? He said, yeah, electric car was great because he was driving a gas car before and he liked the fuel savings, all right? At the same time, this driver wanted to maximize the amount of money he was saving. So he stopped paying rent. So he basically bought like a van, like an older van, and he found a place to park it in the city where he could move it every couple days. And he would just live in the van. Now, I've heard of a lot of people doing this, not just Uber drivers, but people with all sorts of different jobs. Maybe you come here and you work 2-3 days out of the week, so you just drive up here and you sleep in the car for those 2-3 days, and then you go back to Sacramento and you go back to your house over there. It's definitely something I hear people doing quite often. But this Uber driver was pretty clever because the place where he parked his van was very close to an electric car charger. An overnight electric car charger. So after he got his van situated, he would just drive up his car and park it and let it charge overnight. And, free charging, right? So yeah, he was able to save money there. We didn't have a gas bill. He also didn't have to pay for charging, right? And then on top of that, he was saving money on rent. Now, people always ask, this is just a very basic question I always see in comments. Whenever you hear about someone living in a van, people always ask things like, oh my gosh, so if you live in a van, where do you take a shower? So simple. You go to like a fitness center, you go 24-hour fitness, you go to something like that, right? So that's what he did for, he told me that's what he did for showers. And he would also go to the gym and work out and stuff, because when you're driving and you're sitting in the car all the time, it just gets a little, brutal on your back and all that. You need to move around, you need to be flexible. This driver also said he kept a lot of strict rules. Okay, so since he was living in a car, now this is actually kind of smart, because I don't really hear about too many people talk about this on van life. But he said since he's in a car, since he's living in a car, he don't want to just eat. He don't want to just eat car food like snacks all the time, because if you live in van life, sometimes people will have things in the van that are like things that don't need to be refrigerated. He said he didn't want to eat stuff like that all the time. So he had 2 rules. He would just purchase 2 meals per day at a restaurant. And he said that he did not want to eat in the car because he wanted to, go inside or go sit outside somewhere. And that was his time to get out of the car. So this is one of his rules, which is kind of clever. He told me that living in the van was sort of life-changing, because up until this point, this sort of driver was like living in like sort of like a hotel SRO, like downtown sort of. And he was paying, $350 a week. $350 a week is a lot. That's $700, $1,400 a month. So straight off the bat, he was saving the money on rent. Now, when you're living in a van, your rent is not necessarily free, because when let's say you're living in a van and it's January and you wake up, you're going to be cold, in that van. So what are you going to use to warm up? You're going to cut the van on and cut the heat and warm the van up, right? Now, that's how you're going to warm yourself up. Okay, but you're going to be using gas when you do that, and gas is expensive. This particular driver went on and told me that on really, really cold nights, he just slept in the electric car because it was way cheaper to power their electric car. And also, you could leave the electric car on all night and there was no exhaust, like nothing coming out of the exhaust tailpipe as you would a gasoline car. So he would say, like, some nights he would just sleep at an electric charger with the car plugged up and the car on. And I've definitely did something like that before, definitely on road trips where, like, I'm like, I'm just going to sleep in the car, plug the car up, have the car on, have the heat on in the car while the car is charging. Like, yeah, that whole system worked. So, like, he came up with very, very clever ways of saving money. But then he also was telling me about his driving schedule. His driving schedule was pretty dang insane. Since he lived in a van, since he didn't have roommates, and since he didn't have a partner, he grinded all the time. And he said on the slowest week, he was still able to make $2,000 on the slowest week. So you have to just let that sink in for a second, because I know people out there that drive, for Uber, and I follow some of the groups on Facebook and stuff like that. People don't make $2,000 a week. Like, especially in some of these Facebook groups, people, if they make $1,000 a week, they're like stoked, This guy was like, every week, I'm gonna make $2,000. Some days I make $400, $500 a day. $500 a day driving Uber, that's a lot of money. Like, that really is. That's decent. And he said he would have days like this. He said that he would have 30-day windows where he would just work every day, 30 days, anywhere from 8 hours to 10 hours a day. And that is serious dedication. And if you actually are that dedicated to anything, you're probably going to see some financial success, because you're spending a lot of time and you're just stacking it up. And over the course of like 6 years, this driver was able to save and save and save. Now, he wasn't the type of person that save his money and then invest in Tesla stock, or save his money and then invest in stocks. No, he's the type of person that just saved up money and 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 saved up money. And then he got to the point of, hey, I want to buy this house, right? So the house that he bought, he said he got it for around $500,000. So my guess is it could be a little bit less, or it could be a little bit more. He said this was a backdoor deal. So this wasn't the type of deal that you're going to go online and see online. So he knew someone, or maybe it was a family member or someone like that. The house is like it's a 2-bedroom house. He said it could be converted to a 3-bedroom. The house is a complete mess. It's going to need some serious renovations. But this house also is livable in it. He's like, technically, he could like live in it now, so it's somewhat livable, right? This Uber driver has a insane plan that I think will work great. So one of the reasons why this Uber driver said he wanted this house so bad was because of the garage. It was big enough to put 2 cars in, and then there was a spot like right out front to stick another car. And this driver said he wants to remodel the house. He wants to rent the rooms out to other Uber drivers that have electric cars, because he wants to put electric plugs downstairs in the garage and also on the carport, so that he can rent the rooms to Uber drivers and they can all come home and charge their cars. So I think this is really, really cool. This is really, really awesome. Now, the part that kind of shocked me was, when he told me it was around $500,000, and when he told me how much money he put down. Because right now, with the way interest rates are, I don't really hear about people buying houses too much, and I definitely don't hear about people buying cars right now. Like, even if you're driving around the city, if you're driving around San Francisco, I want you to put down in the comments below how many new cars you see on the road with the drive-out tags on them. How many new cars you see on the road? It's like not that many right now. So, homie bought this house at the freaking interest rates how they are, and he said he put $200,000 down and he financed the rest, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. $200,000 down. That's like a large chunk of the house right there, like off the bat. And now he's like making payments, and he says, after the remodel, we'll get some renters in and we'll start to like, make a little money. But basically, like, this whole scenario where what I just heard this driver do, this driver pulled off. I've actually heard of a lot of drivers doing this. Well, not a lot, maybe like 3 drivers, but that's kind of a lot, because I bet a lot of people watching this video probably would never ever expect an Uber driver to be buying a house in San Francisco of all places. And then maybe some people, that might even make you feel bad. You might even be like, dang, I was an Uber driver buying a house, but I got this good job and I ain't buying a house yet. I guess it's really all about your priorities, because like I said, this dude was very, very, very dedicated. I don't think many people are that dedicated to move out of your place and go live in a car for years and save money. That's a lot of money to save. I mean, think about it. 6 years, y'all. 1,400 times 72. So that's $108,000 right there. Just let that sink in. Like, this is not rocket science, y'all. Homie put $200,000 down, and just the amount of money he saved in rent for the $1,400 for 6 years is $100,800. So the other $100,000, homie just hustled it up, stacked it up over the next couple of years. And then check this out. That's probably not all his money, because the amount of hours he was working, he probably could have paid cash for the house. Just think about that. But I'm pretty sure he probably has some other things he wanted to do. Maybe he wanted to do that. Maybe he wanted to take care of family or something like that. But like, yo, if you want to buy a house out here in the city, like, you can actually do it. What you have to do is you have to work in that direction, right? You have to work in that direction. If your budget, if you need $5,000 a month for a mortgage, you need to figure out, look, how I'm gonna make $20,000 a month, $25,000 a month. You got to ask yourself these questions, yo. Or you got to figure out, like, how I'm going to pull this off, just like this dude did, because this dude just straight up hustled, and the hustle ain't done, because when he gets somebody in there renting, he going to still be hustling, because right now he still got to pay money to the bank. But then when he have people moving in, you see how, like, some of that money, he could be given to the bank too. I mean, basically, I'm making this video to say, yo, if you out here, if you want to hustle, you can hustle all day. If you want to buy a house here, you can do that. If you want to work here all day and hustle and then buy a house in Texas, you can do that too. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's dope that someone did it. I think it's amazing. I don't think this is going to be the only story like this, because I know like 2 other people that are living in cars now. And I know if they're living in cars and they work in the way that they are, it don't take 2 and 2 to figure out that they probably stacking up a lot of money. But anyway, I'm just out. I just want to say, talk about this Uber driver. I think it's pretty dope what he's accomplished. And hopefully more and more people can, find that American dream, if that's what you want, American dream or whatever. But I'm out. Like, comment, subscribe. Y'all want to see more videos like this from me? Let me know down in the comments below. Any video recommendations, put them down in the comments below. I would love to check them out. And make sure y'all leave your homeboy a thumbs up. Yo, and I'm out. Ow. Bye-bye. Peace out.